So today I'm going to try to make, pardon my voice by the way, I'm super sick. I'm going to make a set of lightning strike carbon fiber Manix scales. Lightning strike carbon fiber is obviously carbon fiber, but it has this wire mesh throughout it. I forget if it's copper or some other cool metal, but it is meshed throughout the carbon fiber and looks absolutely wicked once it's been machined and finished and polished down. So I got a sheet mounted up in the machine. I've had this stuff for like 4 months and I haven't been able to touch it yet. So it's finally time to just jump in both feet and finally, I've never machined carbon fiber. So just like it was with titanium a few weeks ago, you know, I was kind of nervous to get started and try it. So I got my respirator, brand new, never used it really. I got a clean pair of gloves because I don't want this crap in my fingers and in my skin. And I'm going to use a brand new end mill. This is a 2-flute carbide end mill stub. Notice how it's fairly short. Compared to a regular length end mill where the flutes are quite a bit longer. I don't know if you can see that. I find that the stubs are just a lot more rigid and stronger. And for carbon fiber, it's probably not that big of a deal. But I do tend to favor the stub mills now. They're awesome. 4-flute would have been nicer, but I don't have any 4-flutes. I'm all out. I broke them all when I was doing titanium. So 2-flute it is. So, as I showed in my last video, I just made a whole bunch of glow scales. So I have the pattern, I have the profile, you know, I have the code to make this exactly. I'm going to slow it down a little bit for doing carbon fiber. Otherwise, everything's going to be exactly the same.
Rawr.
So this is the aftermath of the first operation. I used a countersink to drill and countersink all the holes. Works perfectly. This material machines a lot better than I thought it would, as far as drilling anyway. Drills very powdery. The bit had zero problem going through there. Didn't sound funny, didn't look funny. Everything's awesome. And although it's fairly powdery, it's not as dusty as I thought it was going to be. We'll see what the end mill does to it. But it looks like all the junk is just staying right here. So, although I will be wearing my face mask, it might not be the utmost important thing in the world if you're standing a little bit away from it. But I wouldn't want to blow this with compressed air and get it up in the air. So I'm going to use my shop vac to suck it up. So there we have it. First set of lightning strike carbon fiber Manix scales that I've ever made. First carbon fiber I've ever made. And I've got to say, I've been afraid, relatively, of machining carbon fiber for a long time, just because the health hazards and wearing out tooling and yada yada yada. It was no big deal at all. This machined awesome. If anything, the lightning strike, will make it more difficult to finish because it's very pokey right now. But regular carbon fiber, I can't wait to get some. It's going to machine like butter. Like butter. So, not bad, eh? Even got my little logo in there. So this has got that peel ply surface. It's very bumpy. It's very similar to a factory scale, how it's bumpy. So I could sand that down, or I could polish it, or whatever you got to do to bring out that lightning strike pattern. So I might sand it down. I might try it on the backside first just to see how it looks, or if I can find a little piece of scrap. Like I've got my piece here that I cut out. So I might break this piece off and try sanding and trying some various tricks on that. But see on this one, the drilled holes, they didn't poke through very well. They sort of chipped and chattered or something. I don't know what the term is. But they didn't break through all the way. That's easy enough. You just go in there by hand with a countersink and just manually rotate it. I can't do it from this angle. But yeah, you just do that on each hole. Or you could chuck that up in the machine and do it real slow by hand. But all the milled holes turned out totally square, totally epic. I milled a pivot hole. This one's dirty. It came like that. I don't know. I'll have to scrub it real good with something, hot water and soap or something like that. I don't know. But because it's lightning strike, if I run my finger on the edge, especially against the grain, you can see I've got one on my finger right there. These little nubbies, the wire strike, stick up everywhere. So you really got to hand finish the crap out of these things. Lots of dedication and sandpaper is what I've been told. And I've heard that Hinderer sands his carbon fiber scales using WD-40 as a lubricant, so I'm going to try that. Seems plausible. Yeah, if you go against the grain towards my left, I can definitely feel that jabbing into my thumb. The pieces aren't very thick, like the wire. They're just like they're easily bendable, but still they're pokey, and you got to eliminate them. But I mean, first carbon fiber, I am stoked, and I'm especially impressed with how relatively easy it is compared to aluminum, compared to titanium. This is nothing. This is practically plastic. I haven't really looked at my tool too closely, but I doubt one set of handles is going to wear it out. So, not a big deal. Anyway, hope I'm not boring you too much. I'm just kind of excited. Bling! Wonder what she looks like. Dark. Man, that piece is dirty. Bet you that would look sweet on a dark black handle, or black blade, I mean. So yeah, I'll probably polish these up on my buffing wheel. Maybe sand them first, just to get rid of the peel ply texture. And make them nice and butter smooth. So now it's time to finish up these two lightning strike carbon fiber Manixes. And first I tried on this one, I used my buffing wheel with brand new wheel and white compound, and it didn't cut through the peel ply layer. You can see that it's shinier, it feels smoother, but it didn't cut through the roughness. You can see it's still bumpy and textured. So for this one, that's what it looks like, very bumpy and textured, which is cool, but it doesn't show off the lightning strike at all. So for this one, I've sanded it with 320 grit sandpaper. And as you can tell, even just 320 totally cut through the peel ply layer and has brought out the shine, because it's starting to cut into all the little copper strips. It feels so smooth in my hand. And I just used 320, you can see it's dark there. Just me going like this for maybe 2 minutes or so, and it's cut through that. Looks awesome. So I got some new wet dry sandpaper from 220 all the way up to 1500. I don't know if I'll need that high. I'll probably stop at 600 or so, and then go to the buffing wheel. Customer wants it nice and shiny, nice and polished. So you can see the shine difference between stock finish and the sanded. You know, it just makes it shine. So let's get to it. I just made this the other day. It's a sanding block. Would you believe I spent 3 hours making this thing? Yeah, me neither. But I did. Had to go through it a few times to get it to fit nice and tight. But it's same exact profile as the handle, 10 thousandths oversized, and it just drops right in. This way, I can put down my sandpaper with the handle in there on a flat. This is a granite or marble surface plate, and then I can sand it so that it's nice and flat. Because I noticed, not so much on the carbon fiber, when I sand down the glow handles, if I'm holding it like this, there'll be 2 hot spots under my fingers. And then I got to move over here and try to get rid of all the hot spots. With a sanding block, keep it nice and flat the whole time, and should work awesome. So I'm glad I made this. These are cool. Just for starters, I'm going to use this small section of it's 320 grit, and got it in my block. This paper's already kind of worn out, but just to get us started. So you can see it's getting very dusty and starting to get through. Getting there. I really should be wearing my dust mask at this point, but I can't talk to you then. So as long as I don't blow the dust away. Yeah, this paper's not cutting very good. I can feel it. If I go over here to fresh paper, it's much better. Yeah, it's getting there. It'll just take more time like that. And this paper sucks. It's got creases in it and everything, and it's too short. So I'll move to a full-size piece of paper and do some and then show you. Here we go. This is after 220 grit. I pretty much used up the whole sheet with my sanding block, going flat over the whole thing. Even with 220 grit, which is a fairly rough grit sandpaper, they look incredible. I would have no problem selling them like this. Here's the peel ply surface. You can tell sanded a little bit, polished a little bit, but here's what it comes like. And that's what it is now. Yeah, I would have no problem selling them like this. They're sort of a very light matte texture, but they feel totally smooth. I, by hand, like with little strips of sandpaper, I sanded all the edges because these copper strips like to stick up and poke you from everywhere. So you got to sand them down all over. I think I feel another little one right there. You can see them once it focuses in the hole right there. So I'll have to go in there with a drill bit or a knife or something and clean them off. Yeah, this carbon fiber is awesome. Definitely more work than regular carbon fiber. I mean, regular carbon fiber, I could ship it right from the machine, I'm sure. No hand finishing required, but this stuff took a lot. To do this, to get this surface probably took me about 30 minutes. 25 maybe, of standing on the sanding block. So I guess I'll step up. Might just step right up to 600 grit, do a few quick passes, and then hit them on the buffing wheel. So I got my sheet of 600 grit here. It started to get kind of cloggy. The carbon was clogging up on it, so I sprayed it down with WD-40, and using my angle block, or my sanding block, whatever, with the scale in there, I spread it all around, and that did a really good job. And WD-40 really gets into the material and helps it shine. So this here, no, not that side, this side, that is sanded with 600 grit and the sanding block. And oh, does it ever look tasty. Especially with WD-40 in there. It just gets the dust away and helps it shine even better. Yeah, this is the first thing I've made from carbon fiber, and I'm in love. So now you know what that looks like. I'm going to hit it with the buffing wheel and polish it up, see what kind of difference we can make with that. If you'll notice, my logo disappeared because I sanded through it. So I'll probably throw it back in the machine and cut a new logo into there. The logo pretty much just went into the peel ply texture. So I'll have to make another one. No biggie. Alright, this is interesting. So right off the buffing wheel, now while it did make it quite a bit shinier, impressively so, you can see if you look, let's get real close, it picked up every single fiber and they are now sticking above the surface. I think you can see them there. So it's like 100 little needles sticking up everywhere. Very counterproductive, actually. So I think, unfortunately, for lightning strike, the buffing wheel is out of the question. I'm just going to have to go up the grits and sandpaper. It looked really good with 600 grits, so I'm not complaining. For regular carbon fiber, you should be able to buff it up no problem. But for the lightning strike, it's just not an option, because all your hard work sanding, it's just the wheel's going to pick it up again. Pick up all the little nubbies. So back to 600 grit. So I just spent 20 seconds on, I just did this front half with 600 grit, and I left the back rough. and the front now is almost completely smooth of pokies, except for around the holes and stuff. And can you even tell a difference in gloss? Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah. But it's what has to be done. So I have 600 and I'll do it real good on 600, then I'll do it wet 1500. It should look awesome. All finished. Sanded flat with 1500 grit. WD-40'd to heck. Sanded all the edges by hand with 1500, and I'm in love with that. That looks so cool. Come on, focus. Yeah, this material is awesome. It takes a lot of hand finishing though, this lightning strike. So now I can definitely see why most makers tend to save it for their better knives or their better handles, you know, and keep it as an exotic material, because it's hard to get too. There's kind of limited quantities of it. The guy I get it from says he can only buy so much material until it's all gone, like the weave. And then when it's gone, he can't really make any more. So it's got a shelf life as far as availability, so I'm told. Awesome. I can't wait to start making these from just regular old carbon fiber. I probably have at least an hour into the sanding of these ones. That was a lot of learning, so it'll go faster next time, like the buffing experience. I'm not going to do that. And, oh, one thing I wanted to mention. Inevitably, there's always going to be one little stupid copper strip that sticks up and pokes you. So I found that a little X-Acto blade, just to gently go in there and pop it off, works awesome. So like, if you're a customer, not of mine or of somebody else, whatever, who's got lightning strike scales and you've got a little nub sticking up, X-Acto. That way you don't have to sand it down, you don't have to ruin the finish or whatever. Just pop it off. So, let me know what you think, comment. This is awesome to me. But what do I know? You can even see all the strands on the edge there. This is definitely not the first lightning strike Manix in existence. I've even seen pictures of it. I think Tough Thumbs has made a few and other guys as well. But I bet you this is the first CNC machined one. Because I think I'm the only guy doing that. Everybody else is making them by hand. And hats off to you guys. I mean, that's impressive. But pretty sure I'm the only guy doing CNC. Except for Spyderco themselves, but they don't do lightning strike. So, there we go. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.